Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Tequila Talks Podcast, episode number 5. Your friend TequilaBae. Today we're with a cool friend, Kyle, goes by the name DJ Smillz. Say what's up to the cameraman.
What's going on, y'all? I'm happy to be here. Yeah, I'm excited.
Man. You know, we've already just, in rhythm. Kyle and I, we met at a tailgate event for Kent State University. I brought my food truck. So we're really peeling away layers here, having conversation before the cameras, turned on. But we're already in rhythm, having great conversations. So super excited to host you.
Absolutely.
This is going to be a really unique podcast. We're not going to be drinking tequila. Not drinking tequila on the Tequila Talks Podcast. But we have a reason why. And I think we're going to have a great time drinking my second favorite drink option.
Yeah.
So, Topo Chico. Your first time drinking mineral Topo Chico. Salud. So if I'm not drinking tequila, I'm drinking Topo Chico or Mineragua or something mineral. I like the way that the texture of the effervescence and the bubbles feel. And then also, you can make great ranch waters. You can make great cocktails with Topo Chico or any mineral or seltzer water. And then also we got the Andas today. These are the tequila seltzers. Unfortunately, we're just gonna have them here. We're gonna have them here for visual, but that's a good segue on how seltzer, tequila, and you see the high noons and all these different products that are blending the mineral, the bubbles, and the alcohol. So, let's go ahead and get started, man. So we're here for you, bro. I want to get to know a little bit of your background as a DJ, as a Kent State student. Go ahead and get started, man. So, what is your experience being at Kent State? How have you been able to segue into DJing? Tell me some of those stories that we were talking about in your career, especially with the foundation, the I Promise Foundation.
Yeah.
So take it away, man.
Man, where do I start? I mean, when I first came to Kent, I was essentially working for the on-campus radio station. So it was Black Squirrel Radio. And
the Black Squirrel,
yeah.
Kent is known for the Black Squirrels.
Exactly. And
that's cool.
it was dope. It was a great experience. And with me, I'm a student. You constantly got to be a student of the game. And studying the radio DJs in Cleveland and noting what they do and how they do it and bringing that to Kent and to the radio station. And it was kind of tough at first because I commute from Cleveland to Kent, and I still currently commute. So there'd be nights where I've had to actually sneak into the studio after hours, get a nap in, sleep on the studio couch, and then do it again all over again for the next day, and just doing stuff like that.
So you started in radio. I know WZIP, Akron has its own radio. Yep. So I'm an Akron grad. Kyle, DJ Smillz, he's a Kent State student. Akron and Kent, we kind of clash. Can't read, can't write. Well, I don't know what you guys say for our zips, but.
I think we were talking about this in the marketing office. They said that it was the old thing we used to say about the zips. It was the pocket rats or something like that because of the kangaroo, because of the root.
Oh yeah, the pocket
rats.
Yeah, Zippy, man, don't come at Zippy. But so you got your start in radio. I met you at that tailgate event. You had your DJ setup. I brought over some birria tacos. I'm like, bro, just want to introduce myself. Here's some food. But as long as you're playing Drake, the Drake is rolling, I'll give you a guacamole or I'll hook you up with something. Tell me how you segued into a full-scale DJ. You opened up for Mariah the Scientist. You've done so much stuff. So develop on that.
I mean, because like I said, I was doing radio, and then I would also do on-campus events through the radio station because we had the mobile DJ services. So they would contract us out to do events on campus, whether it's for a sorority, fraternity, something for athletics. And what I ended up doing, we had an event at the field house. I think it was homecoming weekend, something around that time. And I talked to one of the AV guys, and mind you, this was almost I want to say 2019-ish.
4 or 5 years ago?
Just about, yeah. I talked to one of the guys that works sound and visuals, and I was like, who should I talk to work with athletics for football games, basketball games?
Yeah.
I saw I don't have to go through the radio station. So he pointed me in the right direction. I talked to the right people. Opportunity met preparation. Here I am, you know. And that first season, I did it completely for free just because I wanted to learn the ropes, wanted to learn how everything worked, but also it was true passion.
Yeah, and then you want to be able to like build a relationship. You know, you always have to be more interested than interesting. That's something I talk about in business. Like, how do you pour into a community? How do you pour into a relationship? That's why for me, you know, the doors here at the I Promise Foundation, House 30, we're partnered with them. We give back. The University of Akron, I sponsored Zips Athletics. Now we're working on a Zips Racing sponsorship. So I'm always finding ways to pour in because, you know, doors are able to be open and networks and conversations. You know, you don't necessarily want to do it for that specific reason. But again, I think the biggest value is like the people or the opportunities that are presented. So you did it for free, and now you know you're cashing some checks.
Yeah, just yeah. And
cheers to that, man.
Yeah,
you know, because we want to, you know, we always want to be making some money, some cheddar. So cheers to that. You see, what I like about Topo Chico is not so like bubbly. I feel like some like mineral waters, like they're really like there's too much bubbles. Like this just has a really nice texture and flavor.
Yeah, and you know, I can relate that to almost like spicy foods. There's almost some foods or sauces that it's too hot, it takes away from the flavor. Yeah. And this hits the middle, you know.
And that's why, man, Topo Chico, it's hard to find. And I think this is like the #1 mineral sparkling water. But yeah, like this is #1. I'm sipping on the Topo Chico.
Yeah.
So we left off where the DJing with the university. So now you're doing gigs for Kent State basketball.
Yeah.
Kent State football, that's where we met. Those tailgates were a lot of fun.
Yeah, had a great time. And then just through working on campus, networking and stuff like that, who reached out to me? It was through one of the organizations, but at least she works with, I think it was USG, Kent State USG. Every year they have an event on campus to kick off the school semester. It's called Blast Off. And they, it's like a mini concert. It's huge, you know. Everybody comes out, we have a good time, and that was the year that we were fresh off of COVID. So that was the year.
Everyone's back outside and doing stuff,
Oh my God, they had the fireworks, everybody's up on stage, it was at night, so we were having a great time. And then that was the year we were gonna bring Gunna. So they had plans for me to open up for Gunna. And that was, I was starstruck. I was like, oh, okay, you know, going from bedroom to stage, you know, possibly sharing the stage with Gunna is huge for me. Yeah. You know, and
so that performance carried out, right? So you opened for Gunna?
No, actually no, that didn't carry out because they it was still the COVID time and they had to cancel it because COVID protocol, stuff like that. So that was in the fall semester. That following semester, during the spring, we had an event called Flash Fest. So this happens as an annual event. We bring in artists. So this year, that year, it was supposed to be the Aces and Black Bear. I was supposed to open up for those two. But Black Bear ended up getting COVID 72 hours before we were scheduled. Man. So they were, who are we gonna get? So they had 2 artists on the ticket. One of the artists was Quavo. They sent the check to Quavo. He came. I opened up for Quavo.
Oh, hell yeah.
It was sick. It was definitely sick, you know, because...
and you obviously had the opportunity to like network and like meet him, and that's so cool.
Yeah, and then the one chance, I had one chance to actually chop it up with him, because he was walking out, and my friend Tia, she embroiders, she's real creative, makes t-shirts and everything. So they were like, we want to give Quavo a Kent State jersey with his name on the back. So she ran back to her spot, made it.
Oh, hell yeah.
And I didn't really have much to say to the guy. You know what I'm saying? I was still young, and when networking was kind of foreign to me. So I was like, you know what? I was like, hey, Quavo, she's the one who made the jersey for you. And he gave her a hug and everything. She actually had a chance to meet him. I didn't really meet him.
You were just the middleman.
I was the middleman.
Hey.
Yeah. But that's what life's about. It's about putting your friends in positions to win, you know?
Yeah, and you made a note of that earlier. So earlier we were talking about like, Kyle was like, hey, like how did you and Alex meet? And I told you about like, Alex and I met in college, now we're working together. And most of the people that I work with are people that like are like in my backyard or that I've known or that we're both like trying to come up and, you know, pouring back into your friends or the people that you're around, growing with your friends. You know, you see the best of them. Yeah. Like Drake, you know, all of his Toronto boys, they came up. Bron is a prime example here in our neighborhood. You know, all of his friends, how they've come up. So yeah, it's just intentional. It's good to see your people winning. Dude. So that's cool. You put it on.
Absolutely.
So Quavo had a good, you know, for me, the Migos are like probably my third or fourth favorite artist. But, so yeah, Quavo got a cool little Kent relic.
It was sick, man. And we didn't envision any of this happening, but you know, the way everything played out. But it wasn't, I can't credit myself for all of my success like the same way you mentioned Alex. One of my videographer friends and photographer, his name was Ramon Hardy, and I remember having this talk with him. I was like, dude, if we're walking down the street, will people be able to recognize us? We do a lot of work on campus, but it's about branding and expanding, you know, and that's why I wanted. I was like, dude, I want billboards, you know what I'm saying? I want to set, this is the standard, you know what I'm saying? And Ramon and my homie Ahmed, you know, they came together and we worked out. And like I said, I don't think I would be the DJ Smillz on campus if it wasn't for their talent and everybody else that I've worked with previously as well.
That are equally putting you on and putting you in those positions.
Yeah, you know, Devin, who else? TJ, Ryan. I mean, these guys worked really hard and really close with me. I worked with Ryan when the following year. So we had Quavo for Flash Fest. The next year we had Young Gravy and Lil Yachty and Cash Doll. So Ryan shot the Lil Yachty and Cash Doll video. My boy Ramon shot the Young Gravy video. And he also worked with me for, when I'm working down at Cleveland Guardians. So we did some work.
Yeah, I seen some of that too on your Instagram. Yeah.
And you know, plugged Ramon with my mentor. My mentor is DJ Cairo. So he's the official DJ for the Cleveland Guardians. So I was like, Ramon, hey, they're basically, both their names are Ramon, but I was like, hey, Cairo, I have a friend Ramon, he's super talented. Can we come up there and shoot some footage for you? He shot on this bomb video, it's sick. And yeah, I mean, I think he was like, yeah, what did he say? I think he was like, this is my most liked post on Instagram. It's like 500 likes or something like that. But yeah, you know, like you said, networking across the table.
Yeah, networking, putting people on. I mean, even Tequila Talks Podcast, that's what it's all about. Yeah. The people in the community, I'm big on trying to highlight as many and as most people in Akron, in Cleveland, because if I want to be able to grow my footprint and influence and capacity to help people, it's got to start here before I can think about like having you know, Club Shay Shay kind of guests. I don't know if you tapped into Club Shay Shay, but man, like Shannon Sharp's been doing some damage on the podcast. He just had Johnny Manziel. He's got Cat Williams. But like for me, it's like, yeah, is that the glamour of what I would want to do on my podcast? Cool, yeah, but it's the people in your community, the people that you're coming up with, and I think both you and I have that same gene and putting people on. And I think that's why we get along, man. Yeah. From the first day we met at that tailgate, like we had no idea, but we're like if we were brothers, like, yo, what's up, man? Yeah, you're putting that Drake. Yeah, here's some tacos. But yeah, it's being intentional with people. Yeah.
So I have a question for you. So
where
does that come from? To think because a lot of people they're caught up in I blame some social media for this, but they try to network up rather than networking across and working with the people in the room, you know? Yeah,
so I think for me, I've learned it when I struggle with team settings. Because like I've thought about it in this respect. I have to rely on people, right? In my business, my managers, my servers, bartenders, in media, you know, videographers, media coordinators. I have a lot of people that I need to rely on, right? And at times when I've gotten frustrated and I'm like, hey, like, I just want to do it all myself, or I'm a one-man show. But then I started thinking about, I'm like, I'm starting thinking about one-man shows. Money Mayweather, Tiger Woods, all the different like one-man athlete show, even DJs, right? You don't need anybody else to be spinning, but I'm like, these one-man shows have a whole team of people.
Yes, yes.
So I think for me, it starts with, instead of networking up, it's building with the people that are around you, because those are the people that you can find trust in.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And as you find trust and you build those relationships, you're able to weed out the ones that don't fit the mold, but then truly form bonds with the people that do. And that's like one thing Alex and I have been really good at. Like from day one, I've sold him all these crazy ideas of like the podcast, the Tequila Talks, and this and that. And he's always just been like, bro, like I believe in the vision, so I gotta be, pay homage and pay respect to that. So that's how I've learned that skill. It takes a team effort. Even if you're a one-man show, it takes a team effort, and what better than to do it with the people that you literally integrate every day. So yeah, that's a great question, man. I appreciate that.
No, absolutely, and just consistently learning. Being a student, like we were talking about a lot before the cameras came.
Yeah.
To the point we had to change the subject. We started talking about the wood of the tables. We're talking about the wood in the room and how everything's beautifully
Yeah, we had
crafted.
way too many sound bites like before the camera, but that always happens. But you gotta be a student. But yeah, continue.
Yeah, being a student, and I think that's what's allowed me to grow the most in Kent, because in Kent, I'm big bro. I'm big bro, but when it comes to Cleveland and the DJs in Cleveland, there's so many DJs that I can call, and when I see them almost every weekend, I'll call them like, hey, what do you think about this? Or DJ K Nice, Step One, Ivory. I can call these guys up and like, hey, what's your opinion on this? And being the little bro. Big bro and little bro.
Yeah, you play both roles, yeah.
And have to. And you got the same discipline in both parts,
Yeah, and I think you equally learn. You equally learn when you have to lead and then when you have to be a follower. And there's value in that. And like for me, I feel like the reason why, let's segue into this conversation. Owning a restaurant, I'm all about building relationships. And I've really enjoyed building relationships in entertainment. I have a lot of DJ connections and DJ friends, and we try to work on an event this summer that kind of fell through, but eventually you'll come out to El Patron and play. But like, what do you like about entertainment and like actually being a DJ? Is it meeting Quavo, or is it meeting all these cool people, or like what really motivates you in that respect?
It's creating the memories for the attendees. You know what I'm saying? Who's ever attending, and that's something I've grown to notice about myself when I first started DJing for athletics and working for them. It's like you have 6,000 plus people. You're gonna have the grandma, grandpa, you're gonna have the young kids, and you also have the college students. You have the players, dance team, cheerleaders. You have so many factors, facilities, you know what I'm saying? And you have to make sure everyone leaves knowing that they had a good time and it was a memorable experience. So being able to create those memorable moments, that's what really gets me going.
And that's the same thing with restaurants. It's all about hospitality and experience. And you gotta find a way. I mean, you gotta find a song that fits the older generation, a song that fits, the kid generation. You told me about the one and only time, you know where I'm going with this. Because you talk about experience. You told me about the one time you've been booed. Go ahead and elaborate on that.
Yeah, so booed by the home team, but it builds character. So I was doing an event for the I Promise Foundation, and I was thinking, in the back of my head, I'm thinking, everything's flowing pretty good. And then, so the issue started to arise when I wasn't playing the music that I play for adults, for the college crowd. It's like, mind you, these are 8th, 7th, 6th graders and 5th graders.
Yeah.
So it's just like, me personally, who I am, I wouldn't feel comfortable even playing the clean version of some of this music that they're accustomed to hearing. So it got a point in time where I got booed from the kids, and
because they wanted the trap, they wanted the rap.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's when I started listening to Lil Wayne and Drake. I was on the middle school bus, singing stuff that I had no idea.
Yeah.
I look back at the lyrics, I'm like, no way I was saying that. I had no idea what that even meant. But yeah, you're right. And then you told me about the moment where Gloria James walked into the room, and you're like, man. So elaborate on that.
Yeah. So the first time I got booed, the first event that I did with the I Promise School, it was cool. We was rolling. Boom, we had a good time. Then they brought me back for the Halloween event. So that's when I first met Miss Gloria James. She was up there, and we had a great time. I was playing more classics because the kids, they're just walking through. I was playing for the parents and everybody who's working there. So the third time that they brought me back, I believe it was for just another school dance, and that's when the booing happened. So we did the Sneaker Bowl, which was like the 8th graders kind of send off to high school. That was tough as well, I'll admit. But like
so I Promise kids are a tough crowd.
It's a tough crowd, but it keeps you honest.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So the last event I did was last week. It was for the Valentine's Day dance, and we're having a good time, no issues, and I knew in the back of my head, like I'm just gonna do what I feel is right. You know,
right. You stick to the mold and you stick to your values.
Exactly. Yes? Sticking to the values. Oh man, that's a word right there.
They're uncompromisable. Your values,
Exactly. And then what made me feel more comfortable was when I walked in with my equipment, and one of the ladies comes down. She was like, "Yeah, no sexy red." I was like, "Oh, thank God," because that was one of my fears. I was like, one of these kids are gonna ask, and there's pressure. You're like, well. But it's like, no, you have to constantly remind yourself, these are 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders.
Especially sexy red. Come on, we don't want to be. I don't even want to say it on camera what she be saying. But
dude, it's tough. It's tough. But so I'm DJing. I think it was for the 7th graders. We're grooving, and then in comes Miss Gloria James, and I'm lucky I stuck to my goals, to my values, and was uncompromisable. You know,
that's good.
I could have folded and been like, here, all right, I'll play the clean version.
You, kid. You try to be the cool,
Trying to be the cool guy, and you have to remind yourself you're the adult in the room. You have to remind yourself, and that's something I've learned with my nieces and nephews, reminding yourself that you are the adult in the room. You want to be the cool uncle, but you also have to set the boundaries so these kids can learn what's acceptable and what's not acceptable.
Yeah. And that's an important facet of business is what, you have the responsibility as a leader to know your values and to know and to stick to them. And it's things that are uncompromisable, even in temptation or in moments where you want to, close a deal or make something happen. Because you never know who's going to walk into the room, and, Sexy Red in that moment probably would have severed the trust, right?
Yeah, seriously.
But that's funny. Tough crowd, man.
Tough crowd.
They wanted Sexy Red, but they didn't get Sexy Red in a different setting. I even have certain music standards at my spot too. There's certain songs that we're like, if it comes on or random, we turn it, we switch it. Because people, you have to be accountable and you have to be conscious of people and the experience that you want to put on. So let's dive into the last component. So that way our viewers, they're probably shocked that I'm not drinking tequila right now. As hard as it is, I think it's a good opportunity for me. Well, hey, we'll edit that out. Don't worry. As I think it's a good opportunity for me to highlight the non-alcoholic side. So tell me, why don't you drink alcohol?
I think it's more of like a discipline thing. Also, there's a lot of people that are close to me that have drank enough alcohol for both of us, you know what I'm saying? For all three of us in a row, you know what I'm saying? So
and have struggled with alcoholism.
And I've witnessed it firsthand, but also the influence of the music that I've listened to growing up. One of the rappers, you might have heard of him. He was in the news recently. His name's D1. He was the rapper who questioned, he went with Rick Ross and Meek Mill. He was like, how can you be the face of prison reform and your new album, you're talking about running up on somebody at the street light. But one of the things that he said that really stuck with me, he was like, no alcohol or weed, I deal with my stress sober. Pain is never over. Every day I got a new chip on my shoulder. I'm like, oh, that's tough. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
As
That's a bar.
Yeah. And then, excuse me. It got me.
You're good, man. We'll power through it. I told you, we're one take ponies. We'll edit through and we'll work through the resistance.
Absolutely. So. But yeah, and I think I really got that from high school. I mean, also being super conscious with myself and realistic with myself, because I knew I wasn't going to be a D1 hooper. I was like, dude, I'm going to have to get a job.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm going to have to find something to pay the bills, because sitting on the bench, doing what I'm doing right here, talking and sitting down on the bench is not going to get me paid. So I told, but when I was playing on the basketball team, I always wanted the competitive edge. However way I could do it, whatever I can do, I'm gonna do it.
And in high school, a lot of time, that's when people start drinking and partying. I didn't take my first sip of alcohol until I was 18. After my soccer, after I realized too, I'm not gonna be a professional soccer player. All right, let's get to party. Let's go. Let's get crazy. No, but that's when most people start drinking. But you've been able to kind of ride that out.
Yeah, and then that even in high school, I was like. All right, what are some ways that I can get the competitive advantage on some of my teammates? You know what I'm saying? After school, I know that they're going across the street to the store to get snacks and food. We had a place around the corner. We called it Max. It was Max and Grady's. They had fried food, stuff like that. And I was like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna go plant-based. I'm gonna go vegan. So I know that when we're running these suicides, these down and backs, these full court fives, I'm finishing top 3 every time. You guys they're winded. They're gonna be winded.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna come in fresh legs. And they noticed that. You know what I'm saying? And we had like a basketball team reunion. They were like, dude, like we were just such a stacked team that it was tough to get down to that's what they were telling me, but in the back of my head, I just played defense. I played hard.
Yeah.
I dedicated myself to
But you were dedicated and you made certain decisions, and you've been able to just stay away from alcohol.
Yeah.
And just make that part of your kind of your values and your core.
Exactly.
That's good.
Exactly. And this is the big brother in me, and in camp, I'm telling the other DJs, I'm like, dude, he was like, well, like, why do you drink before your sets? You know what I'm saying? He was like, well, it really takes the edge off. You get really nervous. You get anxious. That's part of the DJing. I was like, dude, I need you to be sharp. You know what I'm saying? When it comes, you think of a knife, you don't want a dull knife. You want that edge.
You want the edge.
You want the edge. So, exactly. And when it comes to DJing and anything in life, you'll get used to it. You know what I'm saying?
You start to normalize things.
Exactly.
And for me, I'll allude to this because, again, this is a great opportunity that we didn't drink tequila as much as I love tequila. But as a bar owner, I think the common stereotype is that bar owners are like degenerate alcoholics and drunks, which, more often than not, like, being in front of alcohol all day, being around it, it can become dangerous or easy or normalized. To be like, I'll have a sip. And, I've caught myself sometimes where I'm like, I'm having a sip every day and I'm just like, whoa, I need to be able to have like temperance. But for me, obviously, like tequila, alcohol is part of the job description. But you also have to be conscious on how you influence others. Like, you don't want to drive people to just be like alcoholics and, create habits that aren't as fruitful. But now I'm segueing into a realm where, tequila, like wine, is more of a layer of an experience rather than like I'm trying to get like blitzed or take the edge off or numb the pain. Because it's so easy to fall into a habit or into something where you're like relying on alcohol to plug a hole. When you can actually just do it sober and you can have great conversations on Tequila Talks sober. So man, that an opportunity, and I appreciate it. So we're getting ready to wind down the conversation. I know you had some questions for me. I want to knock those out, and then we'll wrap it up. So
there we go.
Yeah, dive into it, man. So what do you got for me?
We already knocked out the one question I had about working across the table. But what was it like? You spoke a little bit before on it off camera.
Yeah.
What was it like that first day you made the Instagram post? You made and then like, hey, we're open. Doors open. So what was that night before? The anxiousness?
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, I think for me, man, it's already been 3 years. And I now, like, all my Snapchat memories and my Instagram memories are like, hey, 3 years ago. I think it was just, again, like, it was a moment of excitement and preparation. You know, I put all this work in to do that. But that's when the work had just begun. And I talked to my parents about that. I'm like, the last 4 months, so I took over my building in December of 2020, and then I opened in April of 21. A 4-month sprint of like 20-hour days of working, of building, of cleaning, sweeping, painting, menus, training, all the different components of like trying to start this restaurant and this bar. And then the night before, I sat in the restaurant, everything was pristine, everything was organized. I had worked so much, I was exhausted. I had just come off like a 21-hour day.
Yeah.
I was going to bed at like 3 in the morning, waking up at 6.
Yeah.
Because I had all that work to do, and I was so driven on opening those doors before Cinco de Mayo. Because I hadn't made money in 4 months. I was like, man, I'm running out of cheddar. I'm spending money that I had, money that I didn't have. But then the realization of just like, okay, now the work is just gonna get started. Yeah. And then after that first night, you know, the restaurant was so perfectly organized. That first night, the restaurant was chaotic. I'm like, man, like the walls aren't shiny, the floors are dirty. But again, it's just like, that was the moment of like, oh shit, there's more work to be done. Yeah. 3 years have been a blur. And then now there's more work to there's so much lifting, because every time that we plateau, like plateaus are important because they give you an opportunity to like reassess the landscape. But then once you plateau, you got to find the next hill to climb.
Yes.
So man, like 3 years now, you know, we're entering a plateau, but then the next hill. And Tequila Talks, all the different projects that I have and all the things that I work on, we just keep piling on the problems and on the work. And you know, Drake says, more money, more problems. Bring on the problems. Bring on the problems, baby. So yeah, great question. Anything else?
Yeah, no, I think you just hit it right on the head, like controlling what you can control. You know what I'm saying? During that 4-month period, you were able to control everything that you can, and then once those doors open, it was up. It was up.
I just had to kind of let it go.
Yeah.
No matter what happened, and then repivot. Yeah.
Exactly, and I can relate a lot to that, because when you start off as a bedroom DJ, you can control everything. You can control the lights. You can control how loud the headphones are when you're listening to your music, and when you first get that one gig, then you got people. You gotta know how to operate. You got people coming up to you. You know, your reputation. You're starting to build a reputation for yourself. In your bedroom, you're the man. But when you're outside and those lights are on and you have a crowd and a bunch of people are looking at you, it's different.
You have an expectation.
You have an expectation.
And sometimes, you have to focus on what you can control. You roll with the punches on what you can't. But one thing I've learned in business is just learning how to pivot. Got to. Because mistakes will happen, problems will arise. Don't get caught on the problem, get caught on the solution. So then pivot and find ways to make shit happen. So, anything else you got for me?
That's it, man.
What's your favorite Drake song before we end?
Diplomatic Immunity.
Diplomatic Immunity, baby.
Oh my gosh.
Word for word, bar for bar.
That's probably one of the Drake songs I can go word for word with. Free Smoke, and I don't know. I'm a sucker for Nonstop. I'm very mainstream.
Yeah, I was just listening to that. Yeah. I was listening to the set list for this weekend for the concert. Nonstop, yeah.
Nonstop, oh, that's gonna be sick live. That's gonna be sick, oh my gosh.
Yeah, and that's actually why I rocked with this guy. Like the first time I heard him DJ, Drake, and I'm like, bro, like that's my dude. Let me go give him some free tacos. And then, this weekend we got the Drake show.
Yes,
so I'm locked in. I'm excited for the summer, man. I can't wait to have you at El Patron to DJ and to continue to build this relationship. Bless. You've been a great guest here on the Tequila Talks Podcast. I appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, and let's go ahead and just wrap this up, man. So thank you to everybody that watched today. Your friend TequilaBae, we had DJ Smillz on the channel, on the show. Keep an eye out for the upcoming videos. We're going to be working with Tequila Corazon, Expresiones. We got Código Extrañejo, Special Edition, Origen. We have Knob Creek, El Tesoro. We're going to be talking about some really cool tequilas For all the tequila snobs that like additive free, that like the core, we got some great tequilas for you. And then also, we're probably gonna be working with some celebrity stuff. And speaking of celebrity stuff, we have the Onda.
Crack it open, man.
Crack
it open.
Should I break the rule? I said no alcohol.
Let's crack one.
But we're gonna bust a can of that orange. You know,
that
the
orange.
can is orange. So this is Drake's brand, and they actually now have their own additive-free tequila. So Onda, additive-free tequila, and they have these tequila seltzers. Man, I feel rude drinking in front of me, but
go for it, man.
We're gonna bust a can of that orange. So Onda, we're great. We're big fans. We're gonna be doing a review of this tequila seltzer, and I can't wait to get my hands on the actual tequila. So, like I always say, shoot your shot and sip tequila.
There we go. Amen.
The can is orange, baby. The Ondalini. Salud. Appreciate you, bro.
Appreciate you.
Great time, great improvisation. That was sick, man. Woo!